What's going on, guys? It is Moldy Fate here, and today we're going to talk about what if Izuku was a Hanma. I hope y'all enjoy. We start off a bit before Izuku's birth, more specifically like 9 months, well actually 10 months. You see, Inko was actually at a party, and she was a bit slim, you know what I'm saying? So, and she attended by herself, and she's having this nice dress on, and this party's kind of boring, until she notices something. Across the party, there's this man, and he is tall as he's tall, 6'6", red hair, and devilish eyes, and they're staring daggers straight at her. At first, she thought this was creepy, but then she began to think it was cute as the man walked up to her and started talking. And he was spitting game, you know what I'm saying? And basically, Inko introduced herself like, "Hi, I'm Inko Midoriya," as then this man revealed himself to be Yujiro Hanma. And basically, that night Yujiro Hanma takes Inko, and they do the hokey pokey, so I don't get demonetized, but they do the hokey pokey, and they start dating, and pretty much after a month, Yujiro Hanma has Inko kind of love crazed. She's like crazy, same with Baki's mom. Like, she really, really, really wants to be with Yuji. And basically, they do the hokey pokey every single day. A disclaimer, I'm gonna be talking about like a lot of the adult stuff, so that makes you uncomfortable, my bad. But yeah, eventually Yujiro asks Inko for one quest. Yujiro's one goal in life is to prove that he is the strongest, and he's pretty much done that. Yujiro has no quirk, and Inko does, but it was a kind of a weak one. As Yujiro would ask Inko a very simple thing. He wants to have his son be the strongest man on earth, and basically he wants to fight his son, and if his son is strong, then he can finally die happy. And Inko's kind of love crazed, so of course he's like, yeah, I'll make sure your son's the strongest. And basically they do the hokey pokey, and he leaves. That's pretty much it. 9 months later, Izuku Hanma is born. And basically, ever since Izuku was able to walk, he was training. Every single time he got up in the morning, training until sundown. This would happen for like 10 years. And basically, it was like normal training, weight progression, at the point where when Izuku was a 10-year-old, he was pretty fit for a 10-year-old, you know what I'm saying? And basically speaking, Bakugo would never bully Izuku in this timeline because, well, Izuku learned a little thing called self-respect. Even though Inko's kind of love crazed and she has a mission in mind for Izuku, she's still a mom. So obviously teach Izuku like basic stuff like self-respect. Izuku never really went to school, so he never had to deal with his bullies, but he did like hang out with Bakugo every now and then. But he didn't hang out because he was too busy training. Now, I want to explain something about Hanmas in this version, in the UA version. So basically, Hanmas have 3 different things that would act as quirks, but they're not quirks. You know what I'm saying? Hanma's been around forever, so they have 3 different things that differentiate them, that make them like super strong. These 3 things are the demon's mind, demon's body, and demon's spirit. The demon's mind and demon's body is already a thing in Baki. Basically, the demon back and the demon brain, which, yes, even though it sounds fake, it actually isn't a thing in the manga. But the demon spirit I actually made up because it made sense and for later things in the story. And basically, Inko knew about the 3 things because Yujiro would, from time to time, like, he peeks her and like, yo, my son better have the demon's mind, demon's body, and demon's spirit. And he would pretty much tell him how to activate all 3 of those things. Although Inko cannot actually, make situations where he would be able to activate those things when he's a 10-year-old, except for the demon spirit. Basically, Inko takes her 10-year-old son Izuku into the middle of the woods on a helicopter and drops him off, and she says, all right, you have a week to get back to Tokyo. If you don't get back within a week, you're not gonna get fed for a month. And like Izuku's like, wait, hold on, this is a bit going too far, isn't it, Mom? And as Inko would smile with goodbye and she'd dip. She would eventually know, like, this is how it would start. And Izuku, like any rational 10-year-old, actually follows where the helicopter went and will go that direction for the next 3 days. For the first 3 days, it wasn't really that hard to survive, but eventually he did get thirsty, and hungry, and a bear showed up. And this is Izuku's first experience. See, Inko knew that, Izuku with basic fighting training, might help him get strong, but he can't be as strong as Yujiro if he kept on fighting humans. He has to fight something more ferocious, something that's willing to kill somebody like Izuku, and thus the wild animals would be a good substitute. And thus, Izuku, as a 10-year-old boy, will fight a bear. And it goes as what you would originally think. Izuku starts trying to fight it, but obviously the bear will overpower it to the point where the bear is almost about to kill Izuku, and Izuku's about to give up when something in him snaps. As the bear goes for the final strike, the palm of the bear is stopped by Izuku's fist, and it is parried. The bear stumbles back, and Izuku kicks it, knocking it to the floor. As Izuku's eyes had a certain glow to them. It was a certain spark to them. The demon spirit was unlocked. Basically what it is a way of thinking. The will to win. This will would overpower any sense of the body's limitations and or the mind's limitations. Basically, even though he's a 10-year-old boy, he will fight this bear, and he has the will to win. And if there is a will, there is a way, and Izuku definitely found a way. Izuku would fight the bear, and it got pretty easy the longer the fight took. Eventually, Izuku did kill the bear by a kick, and it would snap its neck. Izuku would take a nearby rock, sharpen it, skin the bear, and eat it over a nice fire. And a few days later, Izuku gets back to Tokyo and pretty much back home within the week time limit. And Izuku is met home for a banquet. He starts eating actual food instead of wild animals. He starts drinking regular water, and he starts training again. And this really just opened up Izuku's eyes to a whole new world. For the next 5 years, Izuku kept up with this normal training and eventually normalized the whole middle of the woods week thing. And eventually the Izuku does enroll into UA, but it was a lot harder than originally because there's not a way to prove he's smart and stuff. He did take a test, and Izuku is smart, but he also is physically able. But they did take in consideration that Izuku is quirkless and stuff like that, and they think that Izuku is weak. But they're let's give him a shot. The exam's not that bad for quirkless people anyway. So 10 months until the UA entrance exam begins. And Izuku's training harder than he ever was. He starts fighting bears more, and eventually his mom takes him to Antarctica to fight a polar bear. And yes, Izuku as a 15-year-old was able to beat a polar bear. It wasn't that hard for him. Eventually, Izuku went from just fighting polar bears and stuff and learning how to enhance his grip. And eventually, his grip became so strong that he was able to climb up walls with his grip alone. He was also able to stomp into concrete and stuff like that. So this Izuku is strong even without a quirk. Eventually, the UA entrance exam begins, and all the normal stuff happens, except for Izuku isn't really, mumbling and stuff like that. Basically, he doesn't trip either. He's really light on his feet. He's tippy-toed most of the time because he's used to a normal fighting stance. And when you're fighting, if you're on your tippy toes, it actually helps with momentum and movement. I was in Taekwondo. Okay, I'm trying to flex my knowledge here. All right, continuing. All right, but basically, we're just going to skip to the actual exam because not a lot changes, but Izuku doesn't really meet Uraraka, so it doesn't matter. But when President Mike says go, Izuku, Izuku is just bursting through, and he starts destroying robots left to right, and all the teachers are Izuku doesn't have a quirk, correct? And every teacher's like, yeah, he doesn't have a quirk. And like they're all astonished because even though he's quirkless, he's ranking up points faster than most quirked people. And yeah, they do bring up the 0-pointer. But President Mike, not President Mike, Aizawa thinks it might be a bit overkill. I mean, this is a quirkless boy. Yeah, he's ranking up points on like two pointers, 3-pointers, but a 0-point robot. Eventually, Izuku, when he sees 0-point robot, wants to run, but then the demon spirit kicks in. He's like, I can take it. And like, in Ida would be like right there, he's trying to pull Izuku, like, listen, boy, I don't know who you think you are, but like that will kill you. Izuku pretty much like pushes Ida away, and he's like, nah, I could definitely take it. He starts hearing a girl scream, and that just makes him want to just straight up want to push it back even more. So he runs, he tries pushing it back, but it just wouldn't budge. As he sees the girl and she sees him, he's like, hey. And like, she's like super worried because he's being so nonchalant about it. And basically he's like, okay, well, I can't push it back. Maybe. And then he changes his grip and he starts just lifting the 0-pointer up. And like, for context, the 0-pointer is like bigger than a building, and he's lifting this shit up, bro. Like, this guy is strong. You know, he starts lifting the 0-pointer, and he's like, you know, now that I have it, should I just toss it? As he would then throw it up in the air so he can change his grip again, and then he just straight up tosses that shit back, like, let's say like a few blocks. Not no. Just like a block or two. You know, I don't want to make him too OP, so like a block or two. And basically, regardless, all the teachers are astonished. I mean, a quirkless boy was able to pick up the 0-pointer and throw it back a block or two. Like, it is proven he's quirkless. He has done all the testing for it. He has all the necessary like paperwork. He is quirkless. They know that for a fact, and yet he was able to lift up a 0-point robot. So basically, you know, they're like, okay, this kid is strong. He definitely is going to be enlisted into UA. And that's what happens. Izuku gets his enrollment letter, and All Might's like, yo, because of what you did, you got like 200 points overall. His mom's super happy, and his mom actually points this to Yujiro. And Yujiro sees this, and we cut to a scene of Yujiro in the woods, and he sees the letter that Inko wrote. So then Izuku got like 200 points on the test, and Yujiro is smiling, and as he stated, like, he lifted a 0-point robot. As Yujiro stated, yeah, I remember those days. That's who the balls is texting me. Anyway, sorry. He's like, yeah, I remember those days. That's kind of impressive, but it's like Yujiro's on an earthquake. He just punches the ground and the earthquake stops. I want to see more. As he wrote back to Inko. Now, Izuku in the note specifically stated to come in a day early, so he does that. And he sees the principal and some teachers, and the principal just asks one question. Are you quirkless? As Izuku would respond, yeah, I'm quirkless. Why? And some of the teachers would be like, it's just, you know, a quirkless person can't normally pick up a 0-pointer, especially since most quirk people can't even do that. Hell, All Might sometimes even has trouble. As Izuku would smile, as, you know, a little demon in him started like showing. He's like, well, I'm not All Might. Clearly I'm better. As All Might would even be in the room kind of scoffing, as the principal knows, be like, yeah, that's all. As Izuku just walks out, and, you know, the next day Izuku goes into class, and, you know, pretty much this stays the same, even Uraraka, but he wasn't flustered that Uraraka is there. As a matter of fact, Izuku doesn't pay no mind, because, you know, I'ma give Izuku the same tasting woman Baki has, you know. So yeah, Aizawa tells everybody, yo, go to the gym thing, everything stays the same. Except for Aizawa's like, okay, Izuku, you go first. And this is kind of a test to see if he actually does have a quirk. Izuku grabs the ball, and, you know, Baka goes back there. It's like, why are you letting the quirkless loser go first when I should go first? As Aizawa states, Bakugo, he got more points than you. And he's quirkless. I want to see what he can do. See if he's not a far out or a phony. let's just see if he didn't get any pure luck. Izuku would just toss the ball up a little bit, and then he would just straight up baseball pitch that shit. You hear a sonic boom and shit. The ball literally goes up in flames. And yeah, let's just say, let's just make it a round number, 1,000 meters, just to prove how strong this nigga is, bro. Like, Izuku in this story is gonna be strong. And basically, everybody's astonished. Everybody wants to get hyped up. And yeah, since Izuku is like Hanma, of course, he gets pretty much breaks world records in all the physical tests. So he clearly gets number 1, and yeah, for the next few days, literally, like, the whole president thing, like the president of the classroom thing, yeah, Izuku is the president, almost the vice president. And Izuku kind of realizes that he kind of likes Momo. And yes, I'm shipping these two together in this what if, and you're not gonna stop me. And I did this for a lot of reasons that you're gonna see later. So it's a story relevant, I swear. Anyway, so yeah, then we get to the battle training. And yeah, the teams stay the same, although Izuku's costume is a bit different. He literally just goes up shirtless with boxing shorts and shoes. That's it. That is it. That's all he has. Boxing shorts and shoes. That is it. And like, everybody's like, oh, you're just trying to show off your physique. And yes, Izuku has a Baki level physique, okay? He is shredded in this one. And Izuku's like, well, no, since I'm quirkless and my whole thing's fighting, having an overwhelming costume is just gonna, slow me down. As everybody with like flashy costumes starts to get, a little flustered, Izuku goes to Momo and he kind of compliments how simple it really is. It doesn't get in the way. And Momo even explains her quirk, like, my quirk just lets me create things from my skin. And Izuku's like, yeah, it's very like revealing and stuff, so it doesn't hold you back. Momo gets flushed with this comment, and basically the teams are the same, Izuku and Araka, even though Izuku secretly wanted, Momo to be his teammate, but, maybe it'll be a lot better. He wants to see what she can do on her own. And obviously, Izuku fights, who was talking in the background? Doesn't matter. I swear to God. Anyway. So yeah, we get to the battle, Izuku and Araka, Ida versus Ida and Bakugo. And basically, yeah, the beginning of the fight stays the same. Izuku and Araka is roaming through the building. Bakugo bursts in, throws a right hook, but Izuku grabs him and punches him in the face, sending him back. Araka sneaks through, and Izuku starts like jumping up and down, trying to get warmed up. He's like, this is gonna take a few seconds, Araka. Alright, I'll be there. And Bakugo wipes the blood off his nose, starts smirking. You quirkless loser, you're clearly delusional. As Izuku would smile, and this is where we get the demon spirit with him starting to just emerge. He starts getting cocky and shit, and he has this sparkle in his eyes as he got into a fighting stance, basic boxing fighting stance. As he would just say, yeah, no, this is gonna take a few seconds. And yeah, that's where I want to end off this part. I hope y'all enjoy. Like for part 2, it's gonna come out tomorrow, so I hope y'all enjoy. See ya.